Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Vegan Spirituality online gathering. My name's Lisa Levinson. I'm one of the co-hosts, and I'm the director of the Sustainable Activism Campaign for In Defense of Animals. And this is our monthly program to explore veganism as a spiritual practice. And what we do is provide spiritual and emotional tools for animal activists to help us stay in the movement for the long haul. And there are vegan spirituality groups that exist across the country that you can meet together in person. They host potlucks and speakers and events, and it's a great way to connect with others in the community. And for those who are a little bit outside of the community, or if you're in different areas across the country or internationally, that's what this group is for, is an opportunity to connect with each other across the miles. And so I'd like to introduce my co-host, Judy Carmen. She's the author of Peace to All Beings, and she will introduce our featured guest today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Judy, and I am so thrilled to have Vanessa Marsot here with us. She is pinch hitting here. We had Jessica. I think some of you may be joining to hear Jessica, and she got very sick. And unfortunately, she'll be well, we hope, in just a day or two. But meanwhile, she just was too sick to come. And so Vanessa kindly agreed to meet with us tonight. So we're so grateful to you, Vanessa.
My pleasure.
And I'll just go over her bio a little bit so you all will know a little bit more about her. She started off as an actress and a model living in Paris. Quite an interesting life you've had. After graduating from Yale University with a degree in literature. After that, she returned home to LA and started teaching yoga and personal training. She then earned her master's degree in marriage and family therapy and went on to become a licensed psychotherapist, supervising other therapists, and then running mental health and addiction treatment facilities. But her greatest mission and passion is to stop the suffering of animals. So, Vanessa, you're in good company because everybody that's listening in is feeling the same way.
Yes.
She had long wanted to open a vegan organic wellness center to offer cruelty-free solutions all in one place. She left her corporate job and began creating Ellora Wellness. It's spelled E-L-L-O-R-A, Wellness, a one-stop shop of creative, cruelty-free living. Ellora Wellness is to open soon once a space is found. In the meantime, she has had a booth at various art walks, festivals, and the Sunland Farmers Market, and recently sponsored 2 festivals that we'll hear about. Balls Out Vegan Extravaganza, which was a competition between Los Angeles vegan chefs to make the best sweet or savory balls. And Evol Vegan, did I say that right?
You did.
Evol Vegan. LA, a pole yoga vegan music festival.
Yes.
So very creative stuff here. Vanessa's goal is to change methods of consumption by changing methods of production through vegan, organic, ecological, non-toxic, and sustainable foods, products, and services. So thank you again for being with us. And maybe we could start off by having you tell us what influenced you to become vegan and how it became your passion to stop the suffering of animals.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really delighted to be here. And I always loved animals from the time I was very young, and I never liked eating them. Meals for me were torture. My parents thought that you had to eat meat in order to be healthy, in order to have your brain develop. And so they would try to force me to eat meat, and meals would take literally 3 hours because I couldn't eat them. There was something in me, and I don't think at a young age I intellectually understood, but I always felt more connection and love for animals than I did for people in a sense. I had somewhat of a lonely childhood. Everyone was off doing their thing. And so my cat was my primary friend and source of companionship. And I just wanted to love and protect all beings. And I just remember from an early age not wanting to eat them. And my mother would wear a fur coat. And I remember I was just a little kid and I said, don't ever wear that in front of me. I will throw staining things. I'll throw paint at you. I think even before I don't know if I'd seen the PETA campaign or what, but I remember as a little kid telling her I'd throw paint at her if she wore this fur coat. And I would cry every time I see squirrels killed on the road. And I feel like there was just something organic in me that connected with animals. And I then later on, I was a vegetarian from basically when I was 12. I really said, no more, you can't force me anymore. The 3-hour meal's not going to happen. And it was from that time on that I stopped eating any kind of animals, and I never liked milk, never liked butter, never liked eggs. So again, these were things that were just in me. But it was when I saw some things on Facebook right in the very beginning. I saw some images of what happened in the dairy industry and the egg industry and how cruel and how brutal they were that I just instantly was done. I cannot live well and be in integrity with myself if I'm harming anybody. And there is nothing, no taste bud, no reason on earth that justifies any kind of cruelty to any other being. And animals had always been so kind and loving to me and such companions that I thought, how could we betray them and do this to them? How can we see this being and want to harm him or her? So I just feel it was kind of a combination between an intellectual understanding, but also something very organic that I feel like it came to me organically from source or however it came, of not wanting to take in, wear, or abuse animals in any way.
Wow, that's wonderful. And you said that so well. And I think
you.
a lot of us have experienced that. And then others, it just came to them in a flash later in life. And however it happens, it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So among our vegan spirituality groups, the ones who meet and then this one as well, we talk about veganism as a spiritual path. Do you feel that your spirituality and your yoga are tied in to your veganism? Are they connected?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think any act that we do of self-love and kindness and taking care of ourselves or of others is an act of spirituality. It's an act of saying, I am sacred, you are sacred. It's that spot inside you that is reflected in the namaste, in the my spirit, my soul meets your soul, and that when I'm taking care of myself and loving myself, I want to extend that for everyone. And the peace and congruence with my value systems that I feel, I want everyone to know what that's like. And the joy I feel in taking care of myself, I want to share that with others. And I just think the basis of yoga really is ahimsa, a spirit of not causing harm to anyone. So how can you engage in a yoga practice, which is a spiritual, meditative, mind-body practice, if you're harming anyone? And I actually am deeply involved with the Bhakti and Shakti Fest. Every year I work with them, that are these wonderful yoga festivals with speakers and meditation and all that in the desert. And they actually are vegetarian, which is great, but they have ghee and they have dairy. And I've approached the board and I've said, look, if you're about no cruelty, you can't be no cruelty and serve these products that are stealing from animals and harming them. And so they have it under advisement now and are seeking to become a vegan festival, hopefully, because you're not going to alienate anyone by not having those things, but you'll get so much more support and be so much more congruent if you have absolutely no amount of cruelty. So I do think that they are all interrelated. And to me, the deepest form of spirituality is of a love for every being, for everything out there, for all beings, all energy forms. And so when I take that with me into my daily life of wanting to nurture and care for everyone out there, that inevitably is linked to veganism, that I can't care for any being without having a sense of your otherness. We're connected. We are not the same, but we are all in this together, and we're all connected. And therefore, if I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. There's too much interconnectedness for us to be able to harm anyone and truly be spiritual, in my opinion. We cannot connect to source. We cannot connect to other beings if we're causing any kind of harm.
Well, that's great that you're talking to yoga practitioners, because there's a lot who haven't gotten this message, who may not even be vegetarian, much less vegan.
Yeah.
And lots of spiritual teachers too. That's very frustrating.
So. I don't get it. I don't get how you can have this narrow view. I'm also a psychotherapist. I don't get how psychotherapists, whose whole mission is to heal, how a yoga instructor, a spiritual leader, any kind of teacher, any kind of psychotherapist, how any of those cannot have that understanding that how can I care for you and want to heal you while condemning trillions of beings every year to lives of absolute misery and murder. It just isn't congruent when you really look at the whole picture and see what's going on. It doesn't make sense. Your whole practice of what you're doing has the huge missing piece of true compassion and love, which would deepen and enrich your healing abilities.
Yeah, so true. So yeah, and as psychotherapist, as you said, it should be part and parcel of treatment.
Absolutely.
And at least helping people to see that connection, because people are eating so much violence, and that's going to contribute to depression, anxiety, all those things. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't.
So
you've
seen that.
Oh, absolutely. You can't take in the stress hormones of a being who was suffering up until her death. She releases stress hormones the way we do, fight and flight, when we're in that sort of situation. So you have a cow who's stressed out, who's terrified, who's separated from her loved ones, who knows and can smell and hear the blood and the screaming of her fellow friends and loved ones. She's going to be highly stressed, and those hormones that are released, the cortisol, we're taking in when we eat that. So the rage that we feel, the stress, the anxiety, so much of that is related to the food that we take in. I absolutely see correlations, and I actually have a therapy client who's recently gone vegan, and the difference is really marked in terms of her mood and her self-esteem. It's just amazing to watch this flourishing and all these light bulbs going off. So it's really wonderful when people make that connection.
Oh, it is. So tell us about Ellora Wellness.
Yes.
And the website, we need the website. I think Lisa's going to post the website address and Facebook and some other ways to connect to that.
Yes,
but
and
tell us all about it.
I'd love to. And I'd first like to just show you my shirt, because I'm wearing it, my Ellora Wellness shirt. So here it is. And
beautiful.
Thank you. So Ellora and Ajanta are caves in India that were carved by the Buddhist, Jain, and Hindu monks starting in the 2nd century BC, not far from Mumbai. And it was a place where they welcomed in all travelers, regardless of religion, belief, where you came from, no questions asked. It was a place of community and welcome. And it was such a powerful place spiritually. I went to visit it in India. It was just my mission to see this place, because I was so inspired from what I had read about it, and that was what name I wanted to pick. And I went to see it, and instantly I just felt so at peace in this beautiful, serene place of belonging and acceptance. And I wanted that community feel that we're all so separated, and what we really want is connection. And that's what I want Elora to be, that it is coming into my home. It is welcoming you as a loved one. It's not a business. It's a place of welcome and acceptance for everybody. And so that was the origin of the name. The website is EloraWellness.com. Facebook is Ellora Wellness, and Instagram, Ellora Welln. We couldn't fit the whole thing, but it's a 2-part one-stop shop. So the first part is All the business ethics we've thought of ahead of time. So you don't have to worry, okay, it's vegan, but is it organic? Is it non-toxic? Are there plastics or petrochemicals in these products? Is there anything harmful? Is it exploiting children? Is it not fair trade? All those kind of questions, we vet all our products and services ahead of time, so you don't have to worry when you walk in. The way I've always had to worry wherever I go that, okay, it's vegan, but it may have palm oil and all of these beings have been killed to do this, or, underage children to get my chocolate, or, all the different aspects. I wanted that all taken care of as it should be, because that's the only sustainable way for the future. The second way in which it's a one-stop shop is that all the products and services that you need for health are in one place. So we're going to have a cafe wine bar, a boutique, spa healing arts, and dance performing arts center. So what you put in and on your body, what you in terms of what you consume and clothing and towels and sheets and all that, organic, non-toxic. And then the need for movement and creative expression that we all have. We all need to exercise our bodies and create in some way, whatever your creativity looks like. And then when things need a little adjusting, we have the spa healing arts. And all the products will be organic, because when everything I'm wearing is organic. Because when we take in toxins, when we put pesticides on our skin, or petrochemicals like nylon, spandex, polyester, or non-organic cotton, your skin absorbs 60% of what you put on it, and there isn't the liver to help detox the way it does with food. So it actually, in some ways, is more important to wear organic clothing than organic food, because we don't have that liver to help. So you take in so many toxins, and we've seen that there are endocrine disruptors, things that affect your reproductive system, carcinogens in the clothes they wear. Greenpeace has done some studies that show that. So it's so important to get sustainable and organic clothing that also doesn't harm the environment. So we really wanted to have a place where everything you need is in one place, so you don't have to go here for your organic towels. Your spa is going to have products that are safe, your exercise class, your cafe, everything in one place. So you have a place of home and of community, and you don't have to kind of drive all over the place. So that's the real foundation and purpose of Elora. And my goal is that if I flood the marketplace with vegan products that are cruelty-free and non-toxic, that look as good, feel as good, taste as good, as are affordable as other products out there, then why would you pick the cruelty-free filled ones? So even if you're not a vegan, even if you don't want to have anything to do with it and you're not convinced, if I'm giving you all these products and I'm flooding the marketplace with that, the vegonomy, which a term I coined of a vegan economy, I'm expanding that and I'm offering you all that. It's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you get those products? So that's kind of my way through commerce that I can convert the world, because we're going to have Ellora Wellness centers all over the world, to a more sustainable way. All the technology exists already. I've gone to Nepal and gotten clothes made out of stinging nettle, which is a weed and totally sustainable. Banana leaf, shoes out of mushroom, pineapple. All the technology is there to lead a more sustainable life. And we just have to work with the producers who are doing that, eventually have factories where we can produce cell phones that are going to be sustainable. Here's my vegan sticker on my cell phone, so I'm always advertising. Cell phones, computer parts, everything that we use, I want to create a vegan, non-toxic version of it. And that way, that's how we can transform large sections of the population, because we're offering that, and that's how they're going to vote with their dollar.
Oh, that's beautiful. So we can go to your website and see some of the products there? Okay.
Yes, I have some. I have for sale. We don't have a space yet. We've had a very hard time getting a space in Los Angeles because the market is so competitive. We've been bidding nonstop, but we have a lot of parking and zoning issues because we have multiple businesses, and the Department of Building and Safety is used to one thing, so it's a challenge for them to get our vision and to approve permits. But eventually we will have a storefront, but until then, we do offer things online, and we do have our farmers market stands and our art walks where we sell jewelry and clothes and food and candles that are all botanically produced and scented and colored, and all kinds of products that are the beginnings of what the actual storefront will be.
That's great. So, boy, I'm going to look at your website and check this out.
Yeah.
So, tell us about the festivals. There were two, I think, that we mentioned, the Balls Out Vegan Extravaganza and the music festival too.
Yes.
How did that go? And did you get a lot of pre-vegans there interested in veganism?
Absolutely. And I love that you say pre-vegans, because that's what I say. To me, everyone is a pre-vegan. You just aren't there yet, but you will be.
Right.
So I appreciate your saying that. The Balls Out, we had a nice mixture of vegan and non-vegan. I have a lot of non-vegan friends because I salsa dance and I pole dance. So in that community, there's a lot of non-vegans who are transitioning with my help, hopefully. But we had a nice mix of people who came, and it was a competition. We had 5 chefs, wonderful professional chefs, who came and they made their own version of balls. It just had to be in that shape because that was kind of the, unifying principle. Easy to eat finger food. And they made either sweet or savory, their own versions. And everyone who was a guest there came and they tried the different balls and then they voted. And our winner was Jeannie Grosset of Seventh Element Macrobiotic Cuisine, who made these polenta balls that were out of this world. I still think about them. And it was just a really fun competition because it was playful and we had silly jokes and ball games, throwing balls and coming up with dumb puns. And, it really got people involved. And every time we do this, pre-vegans can see how much fun vegans are, how kind and caring and generous we are, how loving. And people kept commenting like, this is such a fun atmosphere. This is such a great party and the food is so amazing. So we create a really fun atmosphere at our events. And then the Evolve Vegan event we had pole dancing, because pole dancing, which has a lot of stigma, it's actually such a powerful tool to develop core strength. And more women than men do it, but we have a lot of men do it too. But it's so powerful and so important for women to develop upper body strength, for posture, for alignment, just a sense of confidence for your bone structure. And I've never been as strong as doing pole. And to me, it's like an adult jungle gym. It's just like flying. It's as if gravity doesn't exist for a moment when you're up in the air and you're just flying and doing something that you never thought you'd be able to do. It's such a powerful and self-affirming experience. And so we had a pole where in a park, we had a teacher who came who's vegan, and she gave a lesson to all kinds of people who'd never touched a pole and, I'm not going to do that. And they loved it because they could see the fun and playfulness of being a kid on this device. We had a yoga class which I taught. My good friend Gwenna Hunter did a healing ceremony where we set intentions. It was 11/11. The time was 11/11 on November 11th, 11/11. So it was a very meaningful time. And then we had great vegan food, and we had a hip hop DJ who played music, and we had a band come and play, a vegan band, Blooming Fire. And it was just such a party. We had passersby coming and wanting to join because everyone was having so much fun. It was this great big festival of love and joy and kindness. So we were getting all kinds of people from the park in Marina Del Rey coming and joining us. What is this? You guys are having so much fun. What are you doing? So many people were coming and exploring, and we had a great turnout, and so many people just could see the celebratory nature of what happens when you have a clean conscience. You're not thinking, I should, I ought, I should change my lifestyle, I really should go vegan. None of that. We just had the clear conscience of, I'm doing exactly what is in line with my value system. Therefore, I'm not contributing to suffering. That gives such a lightness and aliveness and a joyfulness that communicates itself to the people around. It's infectious. And we just had such a wonderful response of people who saw that and wanted to be part of this, not even knowing what it was they wanted to be part of at first. So it is a great way. Having fun parties is a great way of reaching pre-vegans for sure.
Yeah. I think there's a kind of a thought among pre-vegans that we don't have fun, that we sit around and just think about all the bad things. And a lot of times we do. But to show that we have fun is, I an eye-opener, I think, and it makes it a lot more attractive to people.
Yeah.
And it's a spiritual thing too, because you're expressing your joy in just being alive. And so that's really great. So I wanted to, this kind of leads into this because a lot of times we talk in vegan spirituality about the grief that we all feel because we're constantly seeing more bad news. It comes through our emails, it comes through, all the different media that we're on, and just being part of this culture and seeing ads on TV for meat and pharmaceuticals and all of that sort of thing. And so there's a lot of trauma associated with being vegan and being an activist. So what advice do you have for us to cope with that and find our joy and be able to stick with this vision that we have of liberating animals from human domination?
Yes, I think that is a key point, because sometimes the grief can be so overwhelming, and the anger against a society, a world that doesn't care about what we are routinely doing. I remember the first time I went to a pig vigil, the screaming, I couldn't get it out of my head for days. The screaming of these babies getting their throats slit, the stench of death, just the whole feeling that this pig that I was reaching my hand out to and caressing and giving water to was dead now. And the grief became so overwhelming that I really had to do therapy on myself in terms of kind of calming myself down, letting myself grieve and cry and be upset and be enraged, because I think you have to feel what's going on or you can't work through it. You're stuck. So I let myself go through all that. But then what I was saying to myself was, I'm fighting for them. And there are so many fighters. Like Mr. Rogers' mother used to tell him, look for the helpers. When he'd be horrified by all these awful things on TV, she would always say to him, look for the helpers. And I think of that. I think there's so many activists, and more people every day are waking up to the horrors and atrocities of what we're doing to each other on this planet. Look and see all the people who are dedicated and motivated and empowered to speak out and to make a change, and that we're in a time of incredible growth and openness. And I feel that the consciousness shift is happening, and it's incredibly exciting to be part of this. And all that suffering just galvanizes me, motivates me, makes me stronger to speak out single-mindedly that I have to keep going with this. Whenever I get discouraged, I haven't found my space for Elora, or any obstacles come in my way, I just think, I'm fighting for you. I have to keep going. This is what's galvanizing me to spread this message so that I can save more animals. And so when you focus on action, you focus on taking steps concretely, what can I do to help animals? That helps the trauma of being active, of being somebody who is part of the solution and taking steps to do that. And that makes my self-esteem rise, because I see that I'm doing what I can. I'm always speaking. I'm never thinking, oh, I have to be polite. Being polite, while I want to extend love and courtesy, being polite means you're not always true to yourself and not expressing it. And I have to express it all the time, because billions of beings are being killed. So being true to myself and loving, but also letting people know what's going on at all times, allows me to feel that I'm doing everything that I can. And while it's nowhere near enough, it's what I can do. And that allows me to be at peace with myself despite the suffering, to know that I'm taking the steps and that the change is coming, and at some point we will have a world of peace where all beings are able to live together in love and peace.
I believe that too. That keeps me going too. But I love what you said. Let yourself cry, let yourself grieve, but then take action. What is it that you can do?
Right.
And find out what your gifts are. And
right.
I think it was Mother Teresa that said, we can't do big things, but we can do little things with big love.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
so, yeah. So, well, gosh, thank you so much. So, before we open for questions, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just for people to never diminish the importance of what they're doing. You never ever know the impact that you might have on somebody. Don't ever think that what you're doing doesn't make a difference. You don't know that you're saying something might plant seeds in somebody else who plants it in somebody else, et cetera, et cetera. Your impact is much bigger than you realize. Always be true to yourself. Always speak out, even when it's uncomfortable. Honor yourself and be true to yourself, which can be hard against social conditioning, but doing the right thing is going to give you peace of mind because you're living with your conscience and your head. You're not living with all these outside people who have their own dysfunctions and their own brainwashing that might try to shame you. You have to be at peace with yourself and follow what is best for your conscience and your sense of well-being.
Oh, thanks. That's great advice. So Lisa, has anybody posted a question or?
Well, actually, we're getting close to our time here, so I thought it might be good if we had kind of begin to call our meeting to a close, but also wanted to thank Vanessa so much for joining us, and we really appreciate all this love that you shared through your explanation of Ellora Wellness and the origin of the name. That was so exciting to hear that.
Oh, thank you.
And I know that you have something you'd like to share with us in closing today.
Oh, yes, I do. And I would like to say if anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them afterwards. I do have a class I have to attend at 6. A dance class is part of a scholarship program I'm in, so I'm afraid I have to dash off, but I'm happy to answer questions. You can Facebook message me or post them on this site, and I'm happy to address anything. But in the meantime, this book is one I read over and over and often has inspiring passages to me, and I wanted to share one really quickly with you. Yet the timeless in you is aware of life's timelessness and knows that yesterday is but today's memory and tomorrow is today's dream. And that which sings and contemplates in you is still dwelling within the bounds of that first moment which scatters the stars into space. Who among you does not feel that his power to love is boundless? And yet who does not feel that very love, though boundless, encompassed within the center of his being and moving not from love thought to love thought, nor from love deeds to other love deeds? And is not time even as love is, undivided and spaceless? But if in your thought you must measure time into seasons, let each season encircle all the other seasons, and let today embrace the past with remembrance and the future with longing.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Vanessa. And that, for those of us who were joined from the phone, that is The Prophet. Was that what it was?
The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. He was a poet, philosopher, and artist from Lebanon. 1883 to 1931 was his lifespan, and just a very profound and deep thinker, and kind of puts into context that each one of us is so powerful and so important, but we're all part of something so much bigger and so boundless, and that there's such a bigger world out there. So.
Well, thank you again for sharing this with us, and we hope that we're part of your big, beautiful world of veganism, and that we can participate in the vegonomy.
Vegonomy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and thanks so much to everyone for joining us tonight. And in case you don't know, we're in the midst of something called Activist Appreciation Month here at In Defense of Animals, and you can learn more about that by going to idausa.org/activist month. And stay tuned. This coming week we have special webinars with Dr. Melanie Joy and Lonnie Mulerath. So stay tuned for that. Lots going on. And again, thank you so much, Vanessa. This is really wonderful. I enjoyed it so much. And thanks to Judy for co-hosting. And
thank you, Judy.
And thanks to everyone for joining us. And we look forward to the next time we'll see you for our Vegan Spirituality Gathering. Great. Have a wonderful week. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, bye, everybody. Bye.